Hola, my nap fam. It's your girl T, the nappy headed jojoba, and this is Nacho Mama's Influencers Sephora sale recommendations. As many of you know, I have been focusing on much more conscientious, less capricious spending in the past couple of years. It's definitely been a process. I don't really consider myself a materialistic person, but at the same time, I do love fashion, hair, beauty, all that kind of stuff. And being a YouTube fan, it often feels like you're just watching one long commercial. Especially at this time of year, and it happens again in November when the Sephora VIB sale is upon us. The sale is days away, and I'm definitely going to be picking up a few things, don't get me wrong. But if you saw my video that I did for the Sephora spring sale last year, you'll realize that I'm definitely not about to lose my damn mind. 15% off simply ain't that impressive. Not to mention the sales tax where I live in Southern California, it's 10% damn near. Now, rumor is that VIB Rouge will be getting 20% off this spring, which is not typically the case. It's typically 15. And then I think VIBs and Beauty Insiders will be getting either 15 and 10% respectively, or perhaps 15% for both. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if there's any truth to this, but if so, it would be much more aligned with how they structure the sale in November. Either way, an extra 5% off still is not cause to lose my damn mind. A couple days ago, the YouTube algorithms suggested to me a video from a creator named Better with Phoebe, and she did an anti-guide, anti-haul type of video about the Sephora sale, and I thought it was great. So I will link that video right here as well as below in the description box. And it was very similar to a video I had percolating in my mind that I wanted to do, which is this video that you're now watching right now. So shout out to Phoebe. Do check out her channel because she does a lot of really cool content. She's an up and coming creator, much like myself, even though I've been doing this for damn near 7 years or something. So do check out Phoebe's channel. I really have been enjoying her content after stumbling upon that first video that was suggested to me. And she shares a lot of great insight and tips in terms of how to still shop the sale, but not bankrupt yourself because of a goddamn eyeshadow palette. Some of these tips will have crossover with the ones that Phoebe outlined in her video because they're fairly obvious, but they're still worth saying. And the first is to set a budget. Pick a number that is realistic for you, that is not beyond your means, that is ideally below your means in terms of what you want to spend. If you don't have a budget in mind, it's really easy to go willy-nilly and keep adding things to your basket or keep adding things to your cart online and wind up spending way more than you expected or meant to. Whether your budget is $50, and let's be real, you can probably get one or two things at Sephora with a budget of $50. On the other hand, if all you need is one or two things, then $50 is perfect. Or maybe you set a higher budget of $200 to $300. Make sure you pick your number before the sale and do your best to stick to it. One way to make sure you stick to your budget is to limit your number of transactions. Because Sephora does the sale in such a way that you have several days, sometimes over a week to shop, it's really easy to keep going back and making another purchase online, or keep going back to the store and picking up another thing, another couple of things here and there. Next thing you know, you've made 10 different purchases over the course of the sale. I'm definitely guilty of this. I've definitely been guilty of the placing multiple Sephora orders online or going to the store more than once during the sale, buying things that I didn't really plan to buy and that I definitely didn't need at all. In a sense here, we're budgeting the actual number of transactions in tandem with the amount that we're going to spend overall. It's just a little bit of a fail-safe in case you do go over your actual monetary budget. Let's say you set a budget of $200 and then you spent $230. If you've limited yourself to only one chance to shop, then you don't really have to worry about doubling or even tripling what you meant to spend. Make sure that when you set these limits for yourself, they're realistic for you in terms of what you actually can afford, but also how you like to shop. For me, I mainly like to shop online because I do enjoy getting my cash back, because that's just more money back in my own pocket. But I also do like to shop in the store during the sale, not only because sometimes things are out of stock online, but because I often will need to swatch things to figure out my shade, and it's just easier to grab it there since the sale is going on anyway. My transaction budget is going to be one online purchase and one trip to the store, and that's it. My next tip is to go through what you already have. Go through your makeup and skincare stash and really look through those drawers or however you store your items and be real with yourself about what you already have and what you therefore do not need. Look at your staple products, be real with yourself about when they're actually most likely to run out. And if you have enough of something for the next several months, then skip it. There's no need to buy backups of something if you have enough to last you until the next Sephora sale. In other words, focus on the things that you need right now and wouldn't really be able to get later at a sale or at a discount, or things that you won't be able to get at all later. By that I mean items that are limited edition or even being phased out or discontinued. If it's something that you have been lusting after for a while and it's a limited edition item, like some limited edition palette or what have you, grab it now on sale because it may not be there later, so you may as well get it now. And if you do look like you're running low on your favorite cleanser or sunscreen or foundation that you wear every day, now's a great time to get it because at least you'll save a little bit of money. Last but not least is to think about items that you can realistically get somewhere else on sale, even if you miss it now at Sephora. I say this a lot, I probably say this every time I talk about Sephora, but I tend to buy anything that I can get at Sephora that is also carried at Ulta. I'll get it at Ulta instead. The reason for this is Ulta simply has more sales. They have 20% off coupons several times throughout the year, not just twice. And more importantly, Ulta's reward program is better than Sephora's. At this point, Sephora finally has implemented a $100 reward that you can use toward items after you have 2,500 in points, which is a lot. Ulta's rewards program is structured very differently. I find that it's a lot more accessible in terms of redeeming rewards for points sooner, not to mention the value of the points is better. Just going back to the example I gave, I know that at Sephora it takes 2,500 points to get a $100 gift card, and I don't think there's a lower tier. I think you have to have at least 2,500 points, which means you spent $2,500 at Sephora to get $100 back. At Ulta, their point system is different, where with their platinum and I think now diamond tiers, you earn more than 1 point per dollar spent. And I'm almost certain that at 2,000 points at Ulta, it's worth $125 or something like that. So using that as an example, you're spending less money to reach that 2,000 points at Ulta versus Sephora. And you also need 500 less points than you would at Sephora to get a greater value for those points, because it's 2,000 points for $125 at Ulta versus 2,500 points for $100 at Sephora. Ulta's also been extremely cheeky in recent years, where they routinely will run a 20% off coupon the week or so before the Sephora sale is happening. And I love it because it allows me to take advantage of restocking on anything that I would have probably gotten at the Sephora sale if Ulta didn't carry it, thereby reducing how much I spend at Sephora and getting me more valuable points elsewhere. Hopefully that wasn't too complicated, but I'm just trying to show you guys some of the things that I do to try to stretch my dollars a little bit farther when I'm buying these bougie, unnecessary makeup and skincare items. As I said, Ulta also has 20% off sales throughout the year, and they generally are a one-time use, i.e. one transaction only opportunity. Sometimes they will slide into those DMs with an additional coupon just before the end of the sale, but for the most part, it's a one-time use thing, which I think is definitely a better thing if you're a little bit too trigger happy with your purchase finger, because as I was talking about earlier, when you have an entire week to keep buying things, you often end up buying things that you wouldn't necessarily, but if you only have one chance to use a coupon, you're going to be a lot more strategic about what you get, and you're going to be more focused. Now that we've gotten through the boring part about being responsible, conscientious consumers, let's get into the things that I actually do recommend in case you haven't checked out any of these items. Let's start off with hair because those are the items closest to me, and that would be Kemet Biologics. Sephora does carry Kemet Biologics. They have carried them for quite a few years, and I always like to purchase items from Kemet during the Sephora sales, one, because of the discount, and two, so that they continue to carry the brand. A lot of you guys know how important it is to me to support Black businesses, but I also want to support them in being able to expand their businesses. So when I see Black businesses being carried at Target and places like that, I want them to actually continue to be carried at these other third-party outlets. So while I do continue to buy from Kemet directly, their sales are few and far between. They basically have one, maybe two a year. So I do like to support them at Sephora. As far as moisturizers go, I love their Burdock Root Buttercream. I think that one is slightly less popular than their Amla and Olive Heavy Cream. I don't really use that one as much. I just found that the Burdock Root, despite being the one for, I think, looser curls and finer hair textures, it just seems to work better for my hair. So that is probably my holy grail moisturizer, I would say. But I won't be getting any because I'm stocked up and don't need any right now. But if you haven't tried their moisturizers and you haven't found one that works for your hair, now is a great time. I also love the Kemet sealants, which are the Olive and Honey Hydrating Balm and their Castor and Amla Nourishing Pomade. The pomade is a newer one to me. I picked this up I think toward the end of last year, and I love it. The Olive and Honey I've been using for years. My ride or dies know that. You guys have seen me talk about this and use this in many videos. And I love this Castor Pomade just as much. I kind of use them differently. I feel like it has more to do with what texture I want more than anything. The Castor Pomade is more like a grease, so I would use that one more like a grease. You know, whether I'm going to be smoothing down my edges or trying to clean up a part and smooth down the hair around a part, that sort of thing. Whereas I wouldn't really go in with this one to do that sort of thing. And then I love this one to seal my ends. I feel like this one, it's just got such a nice heavy texture. It really helps to weigh down my ends, which is what I'm looking for because I find that it helps to reduce the amount of single strand knots that I experience. But this one is also a very heavy product too. So I think these are both great as end sealants or really just hair sealants because we're not only sealing our ends, but you get my drift. These are both fantastic products. I love them. I will not be without them. And if I weren't so stocked right now, I would be picking some up during the sale. My next recommendation is to pick up anything that is really not just high-end because Sephora only carries pretty high-end makeup, but luxury. Charlotte Tilbury, Hourglass, Tom Ford, these types of brands. If there's something from one of those really luxury, high price tag brands, now's obviously the time to get it. Whether it's something that you've been wanting to try or something that you already use and love and maybe you're getting a bit low. I'll give you a few specific product recommendations if you were just curious about trying certain things or certain brands. The first is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I have talked about this product at length. I still don't even really know what it is, but I can't be without it. I am wearing it right now underneath my foundation, and it is a part of my makeup routine every time I do my makeup. Once I picked this product up and saw the effect it gave to my skin, it's been in my makeup routine every time unless I've forgotten to put it on. I have done a video on my top 5 products from Charlotte Tilbury, so I'll link that right here if you want to see a few other things I love from the brand so that you might want to pick them up when you can get them for 20% off. Next is the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate. This is a cream highlighter and contour, and it does come in more shades now. This is Intensity 2. There were only 2 shades at the time I got mine, but there are more now. And as you can see, I've hit pan, so this is clearly a product that I love. I don't talk about Tom Ford all that much on my channel, but I do have a good amount of stuff from his brand because I just love it. And this in particular is my holy grail highlighter and contour duo. It's a cream product, as I said, and I tend to prefer cream products. The contour in here blends out so effortlessly. It's similar to what I say about Charlotte Tilbury makeup in that it makes me feel like I'm really good at makeup when I'm not. It's very user-friendly, idiot-proof makeup to get you compliments all day long, even though you don't know what the fuck you were doing. And the highlighter in here, it looks intimidating in the pan because it is white, but it essentially goes on clear. It's like a colorless highlighter, and every time I wear it, another makeup junkie will ask me what highlighter I'm wearing. The only regrettable thing about this is that even though I'm careful, I tend to cross-contaminate these. I'll use clean fingers, different fingers, a brush, whatever. I always seem to get contour in the highlight and then I have to kind of clean things off, and it's a little bit annoying, but the effect that it gives to my skin, I don't give a fuck. I will absolutely repurchase this, but yeah, I think I got enough to get me to the November sale, so I'm not going to repurchase it right now. Another staple or holy grail for me is the Guerlain Meteorites. These are the pearls. This also comes in a pressed version, but I prefer the pearls. This is, you can kind of see how they look there. I don't want them to go spilling out. This is my all-time favorite finishing powder. Not everyone uses finishing powders, but I do. I find that whenever I use this on my skin, it's just like, oh, that's what I was looking for. Particularly since in my real life, I don't really wear foundation any longer. I haven't been wearing foundation for the past year or two. I just wear concealer under my eyes and on my areas of hyperpigmentation down here, cover up a blemish scar if I need to, and then I'll go over top with this and my skin looks, I basically look like an angel. I do have other finishing powders that I really enjoy, but none of them are better than this, and if I could only pick one, it would be this, and I would still be very happy. If you guys saw my recent nighttime skincare routine, you may recall that I use some fairly bougie products for my lip care at night. One of which is the Fresh Sugar Lip Serum Advanced Therapy. I always like to restock on this during the Sephora sale because this is a product that I use every single night. I want to have it on hand, and I may as well get it at a bit of a discount. As well as the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask. This is still my first container I ever bought, undoubtedly during one of the Sephora sales last year. But she's getting a little low, so it's a great time to restock now during the sale. I actually already have my next jar of this ready for me to go as soon as this is done. So again, this is something that I guess I'm anti-hauling, even though I love it. Regardless, these two are definitely Sephora sale staples for me because these brands are not carried at Ulta, of course. And as well, these have made it so I haven't had to exfoliate my lips in like 2 years. Since I did mention base products being a great thing to stock up on during the sale, I would recommend getting whatever your favorite foundation is. I don't really wear foundation like that anymore. I mean, I do have some favorites, but I'm more of a concealer girl, as I was talking about during that Guerlain moment a moment ago. And the Cover FX Power Play Concealer. Now, this brand is also carried at Ulta, but if you just don't like Ulta or if you missed their 20% off coupon, whatever, I recommend this concealer so highly, and I've heard great things about the foundation as well. This concealer just blurs my skin. If I have to dab it over areas where I've got some scarring from old blemishes or what have you, it blurs my skin in such a way, especially when I put this over top, where it just looks like I have an Instagram filter on my face in real life. Like, I'll be up close in my mirror at my vanity, like, what pores? What pores? I don't understand it. I don't know what's in this. I don't know why this concealer doesn't get the hype it deserves, but this is my go-to concealer, especially since the ones I used to use by Charlotte Tilbury, I believe, have been discontinued. And because their shade range is so extensive that I was able to find one shade that works not only under my eyes, but on my face. Typically, I have to have one shade for under here and then another shade for down here. And I love that I can get away with just one product. So I love, love, love this concealer. And maybe one of these days, once I'm out of the foundations that I have that are still great and good for me to use, I'll try the foundation from this line as well. Last but not least, I would recommend getting a fragrance. Your fragrance that you already know you love, or maybe one that you've been wanting to try, because it is tricky to get fragrances on sale. Ulta used to exclude fragrances from their 20% off coupons regularly. It was like maybe once a year that you would be able to apply it. Now they seem to be a lot more loose with it, but Sephora also has a lot of fragrances that Ulta does not have. This one is my favorite, or one of my favorites. It's definitely a go-to, and this is the Chloe signature fragrance. I think it's just called Chloe. I love this so much. So if I weren't doing pretty well with the amount I have left, I would definitely pick some up, but I'm good. And as we are getting into summer, not only might you want to consider getting your fragrance, but I love getting, if there is one, a lotion that goes with my fragrance. This is the Chloe lotion. So it's the same scent as the actual perfume, but I love layering these in summer because, you know, it's humid sometimes, you're schwitzing. So I like layering my fragrances in the summer to get more longevity. With it being April, almost May, it's a great time to actually experiment with that if you are interested in layering your fragrances. So the Chloe lotion plus the Chloe perfume is definitely a summertime staple for me. I tend to actually just take a squirt of this and then mix it with my normal body lotion just to help it last longer. So, and that's why I've still got a good amount and I won't need to re-up right now. But if you are like me and you like to layer fragrances in the summer with the corresponding lotion and actual perfume or EDT, now's the time to do it because fragrances is expensive. And that is it. That is my anti-guide, anti-hauling my own favorites for this Sephora sale. I don't know what I'm going to call this video, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, that is it for me today. Please do check out Better with Phoebe's anti-guide, anti-haul video. I'm going to link it right here for your convenience. And other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
That's a nappy-headed hose there, I'm going to tell you that now.